Classes continue your discussion. Let's now move on to inventory measurement. For measurement, as usual, we have initial measurement and subsequent measurement. According to PAS2, inventories are initially measured at cost. Sir, ano ibig sabihin ng cost? If you're a merchandising entity, the cost is basically the purchase price. Okay? Kung maalala nyo, class, dun sa illustration natin sa merchandising, for example, nagbebenta tayo ng calculator. Order tayo kay Shopee, tayo sa ABC company, and then bebenta natin yung calculator kay customer. For example, ang bili natin sa calculator from Shopee is 500. Yun yung purchase price. Okay? May measure natin initially, yung inventory natin, yung calculator for 500 pesos. Okay? Now, if you're a manufacturing entity naman, the cost is the direct materials, direct labor, and overhead, which we will discuss extensively in cost accounting. Hindi lang cost. For initial measurement, i-add pa natin dyan yung other costs necessary to bring the inventory to its intended location and condition. Okay? Now, ang keyword dito, class, is necessary. Dapat kailangan siya. Okay? To bring the inventory to its intended location and condition. Ang mga examples yan, sir. Pinakamagandang example dito, yung freight in. Okay? Let's say, bumili tayo kay supplier, and then kailangan nating i-deliver yung inventory dun sa warehouse. So, yung incur natin na freight, ika-capitalize mo yun. Necessary siya. Okay? Ano pa example, sir? Taxes, import duties. Let's say, import pa natin yung inventory from another country. Ayun, kailangan natin bayaran yung mga yan. Okay? Other costs necessary. So, ulitin ko, class, initially, inventories are measured at cost. Kapag merchandising, kung magkano yung binili mo, binayad mo yung kay supplier. Kapag manufacturing, DMDLOH. Huwag mong kalimutan na isama lahat ng necessary costs to bring the inventory to its intended location and condition. Ito yung mga examples. Okay, let's go to subsequent measurement. Every December 31, how do we measure inventories? We measure inventories every December 31 at lower of cost or NRV. LC, NRV. Analyze natin. Lower. Ibig sabihin, mas mababa. Between the cost. Sir, ano yung cost? Kaka-explain ko lang. Ito yung cost. Okay, yung initial measurement natin. And NRV. So, mas mababa daw between cost and NRV. NRV, class, or net realizable value, is computed as estimated selling price minus cost to sell. Okay? Yan yung formula ng NRV. Let's have an illustration. For example, class, nagbebenta tayo ng cellphones. Okay? Now, yung cost natin for a cellphone is 10,000 pesos. And then, selling price, binebenta natin yan for 12,000. And then, our cost to sell is 1,000. Sir, ano ba ibig sabihin ng cost to sell? Ibig sabihin niyang, class, yun yung additional cost na kailangan mong bayaran pag nagbebenta ka. Ang magandang example ng cost to sell is the commission. Okay? Let's say, meron kang sales agent. Every time na magbebenta siya ng cellphone, babayaran mo siya ng 1,000. Yun yung cost to sell. 12,000 minus 1,000, NRV natin, class, sa scenario 1 natin is 11,000. Lower of cost, 10,000, and NRV of 11, obviously, mas mababa yung 10,000 na yan. Ano yung importance yan, sir? Yung 10,000 na yan, class, iyan yung amount of ending inventory na ipe-present natin in our balance sheet. Okay, ulitin ko, class. Subsequently, inventories are measured at LC and NRV. Kunin mo yung cost. And yung NRV. NRV is the selling price minus cost to sell. Na-compute natin, piliin mo yung sa baba. Therefore, 10,000 yung measurement ng inventory natin. Scenario number 2. Let's say cost is still 10,000. Kaya lang, nag-introduce ng bagong model. Okay, bumaba yung price ng existing cellphone natin. O kaya naman, nagkaroon ng damage yung cellphone. Mas mababa natin mabibenta. For example, 8,000 pesos na lang. Cost to sell natin, yung commission is still 1,000. Therefore, our NRV is 7,000. Cost 10,000, NRV 7,000, lower pipiliin natin. Answer natin dito, class, is 7,000. Okay? So, yan yung application of LCNRV. Now, LCNRV, class, ideally, i-apply natin siya item by item. Iisa-isahin natin. For example, nagbebenta tayo ng cellphone, per cellphone ng analysis. Okay? If possible. If hindi practical, pwede tayong may group ang application of LCNRV. So, this is initial measurement, subsequent measurement. Let's go to illustrative example number 5. I-apply natin class yung inventory measurement na yan. Illustrative example number 5. Nakita nyo ba dyan yung requirement, determine the inventory value applying the lower of cost and NRV? Nakita mo yan? Okay. So, sige. Illustrative example number 5. Let's read the given. The inventory of ABC Company at the end of the current year, so December 31, is to be recorded at the lower of cost and NRV. Now, merong 5 items. Item A, B, C, D, E. May number of units, may cost, merong estimated selling price, and may cost to sell. Para saan yung estimated selling price and cost to sell? Ito yun. To compute the NRV. Right? So now, per item, sabi ko dyan, item by item, tignan natin class yung lower of cost or NRV. Ganito gagawin ko dyan sa number 5. So meron tayong cost and NRV. Okay? Yung cost natin for item A, sulat ko muna, A, B, C, D, E. Okay? Cost is 120. Alright? 110, 150, 140, and 130. So, kinapi ko lang class. Yung cost, kinapi ko lang. NRV, so selling price, i-minus mo sa cost to sell. Doon tayo kay item A, 180 minus 30. That's 150. 140 minus 20, 120. 170 minus 30, 140. 190 minus 30, 160. 200 minus 40 is 160. Piliin natin, whichever is lower. Isa-isayin natin. 120. Ano pa? 110. 140. 140 and 130. O, yan. Yan ang gagawin natin. So, for item A, ilang units si item A? 1,000 times 120. Si item B, 1,500 times 110. Item C, 1,200 times 140. Item D, 1,800 times 140. And item E, 1,700 times 130. Sige nga class, compute natin and then i-add lang natin. That's our LC and RV. 1,000 times 120 is 120,000. 1,500 times 110, 165,000. 1,200 times 140, that's 168,000. 1,800 times 140, that is 252,000. And then 1,700 times 130, you get 221,000. Add natin lahat yung class. 120,000, 165,000, 168,000 plus 252,000 plus 221,000, you get 926,000. Answer natin dito class, 926,000. Ano yung importance yan? Ito yung mag-a-appear na ending inventory in your balance sheet on December 31. Okay? 926,000. Tuwing kailan mo gagawin? Yung LCNRV, subsequent, every December 31 ang ginagawa yan. Okay? Sige. That's illustrative example number 5. Let's go to illustrative example number 6. Tuturo ko naman sa inyo kung ano yung accounting for LCNRV. Ito kasing computation eh. Paano yung accounting side? Let's take a look at the requirements. No? Prepare journal entries to adjust the ending inventory under direct method and allowance method. Meron tayong 2 acceptable methods for LCNRV. No? Direct method and allowance method. Though ang mas ginagamit talaga is the allowance method. Sige, I'll show you kung paano gawin yan. No? CPA company provided the following inventory data at the end of the first year of operations. Equipment, tools, tables, and chairs. Okay, so class, meron nakalagay na cost and nakakompute na yung NRV. Ha? Now, kung makikita mo dyan, class, compute natin yung LCNRV for each item. Doon mo tayo sa equipment. Okay, equipment is 2.2 million. Mas mababa yung cost. Okay, doon tayo sa tools. Lower dyan yung NRV, which is 1.5 million. And then tables, 700,000. And then last one yung chairs, 400,000. Okay, ito yung LCNRV natin. So, add natin class, 2.2 million. Plus 1.5 million, plus 700,000, plus 400,000, you get 4.8 million. Plus yung LCNRV natin is 4.8 million. Okay? Take note, ang nakalagay dyan sa total cost, makikita mo yung first column, di ba class, nakalagay dyan total is 5 million. Okay, pag in-add natin yung cost na 2.2 million, add natin lahat ng cost. 2.2 plus 1.7 million, plus 700,000 plus 400,000. Na-compute mo ba yung 5 million? Yun yung cost. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, class, currently, before natin i-perform yung LCNRV, ito yung nasa balance sheet niya. Okay? Kasi yun yung sa initial measurement. Measure that cost, tama? So initially, 5 million yan. Pero sa end of the year, 4.8 million na. 4.8 million dapat yan. Okay? So paano gagawin natin, sir, dyan? Under the direct method, okay, direct method, to record the inventory, the ending inventory na 4.8 million, ganito class yan under direct method. Debit, ending inventory, balance sheet, credit, income summary, diretso, 4.8 million yung recording natin. Okay? So, parang assumption dito yung periodic system. Pag periodic system, di ba, magka-count tayo ng inventory and then i-record natin siya. Debit in ending inventory, credit income summary, 4.8. Diretso ka na 4.8. Alright? Now, sir, ano yung epekto niyan? So, class, mangyayari dyan, tingnan mo, instead of 5 million ang i-record mo, 4.8 million na record natin. Okay? So, ang effect niyang, class, papakita ko sa inyo. Ganito yung effect niyan. Kung mapapansin mo, ang computation ng cost of sales to recall, beginning inventory plus purchases, you have cost of goods available for sale, minus ending inventory, you have cost of goods sold. Tama ba, class? Ito yung computation ng cost of goods sold. Now, instead of 5 million ang i-record mo as ending inventory, 4.8 diretso ni-record natin. Kaya siya tinawag na direct method. Ngayong class, ibig sabihin yung ending inventory natin, mas mababa. Kasi instead of 5 million, ginawa natin 4.8. Tama ba yan? So, kung mababa yung ending inventory mo, mataas yung cost of goods sold mo. Does that make sense? Okay. So, ibig sabihin, ang effect ng direct method is to increase our cost of goods sold. Okay? Now, para mas ma-appreciate mo yan, compare natin yan sa allowance method. Allowance method, mas ginagamit to. No? Pero tingnan natin, class, kung ano yung difference nila. For allowance method, ganito yung entry mo dyan. Debit ending inventory, balance sheet, credit, income summary, 5 million. Okay, dun muna, 5 million muna, which is equal to the cost. Okay, so yung cost yan. And then, meron pa tayong isang entry. Debit, loss on inventory write-down, which is charged to cost of goods sold. No? Credit, allowance for inventory write-down. Medyo mahaba yung item, pero debit loss on inventory write-down, credit allowance for inventory write-down, which is the difference between the two, 200,000. Okay? Now, class, kung mapapansin mo dyan, yung ending inventory natin sa balance sheet, ganito yung presentation yan. Meron kang 5 million, less allowance, 200,000. Therefore, ending inventory natin sa balance sheet is 4.8 million. Pareho silang 4.8. Whether direct method, 4.8, or allowance method, parehong 4.8 million yan. Magkaiba na sila ng entry. Ito, diretso. Wala nang allowance, kaya direct method, 4.8. Okay? Dito, may allowance, pero 4.8 pa rin. Okay? Take note, class, na pareho sila sa cost of goods sold ang effect. Kanina, na-prove natin na through direct method, mag-i-increase yung cost of goods sold mo. Sa allowance method, actually increase din ang cost of goods sold because yung loss on inventory write-down, charge mo yan to cost of goods sold. Yan yung mga entries natin under direct method and allowance method. Let's go to... Okay, so punta tayo, class, sa medyo mag-jump tayo, no? Medyo mag-jump tayo. Go to main problem number 3, pero dun sa part 2 ng handouts. Okay, so punta ka muna dun, class. Main problem number 3, part 2. Ano yung part 2? Ito yung estimation. Okay, may isang problem tayo na related dyan. So punta ka muna sa main problem number 3, part 2. Ang pangalan ng company is Joyme Company. Okay, so punta ka muna doon. Ang tanong sa atin dyan, class, how much loss on inventory write-down is included in cost of sales? Okay, so yeah, so let's read. Joyme Company sells a variety of merchandise to its customers. On December 31, the balance of its ending inventory was 3 million. Okay, and the allowance for inventory write-down before adjustment was 150. Ano ulit, class, yung allowance for inventory write-down? Contra ending inventory account yan. So, ang gagawin ko dito, class, meron tayong cost of ending inventory, which is nakalagay dyan, 3 million. And then, meron tayong allowance. Obviously, yung allowance, ang normal balance yan is a credit. Okay, how much daw? 150,000. Ayan. Relevant information about the proper valuation of inventories and the breakdown of inventory cost and market data are as follows. Plus, napakaraming given. No? Merong cost, replacement cost, sales price, NRV, normal profit. Mag-stick ka lang dun sa LC NRV. Ang important sa atin dyan, yung first column na cost and yung fourth column na NRV. Yung ibang columns dyan, pang-confuse lang yan. Huwag mong papansinin yan. Again, lower of cost or NRV. Tingnan mo lang yung cost and yung fourth column na NRV. So, ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. Computein natin yung LCNRV. Okay, isa-isayin natin. Meron tayong bags. May cost na 800, NRV is 550. So, 550 yung lower. And then next is shoes. Cost is 1 million, NRV is 1.1, so 1 million yung lower. Clothing naman, 700,000 versus 950, so that's 700,000. And then lingerie, 500,000 versus 350, so 350,000 yan. Therefore, ang total LCNRV natin, class, 550,000 plus 1 million plus 700,000 plus 350,000, you get 2.6 million. Ito yung cost, yung LCNRV natin, 2.6 million. Now, cost mo is 3 million, okay? Kailangan maging 2.6 million yan. So, ibig sabihin, class, yung allowance natin, ang ending balance, 3 million minus 2.6, dapat 400,000 yan. Tama lang? Okay, now, may beginning balance na 150, kailangan maging 400, solve for X, 250,000. Answer mo dyan, letter D, 250,000. Entry mo dyan, debit loss on inventory write-down, credit allowance for inventory write-down, 250,000. So, kung i-visualize mo yung balance sheet, may makikita ko doon. Ending inventory, 3 million. Minus allowance for inventory write-down, 400. You have 2.6 million, which is equal to LC and RV. Okay, yun lang. Easy. Sige, so, ayan, that's for LC and RV. Plus, another concept related to inventory measurement is purchase commitments. Another term for purchase commitment is firm commitment. So, pag nabasa nyo purchase commitment and firm commitment, magkamukha lang ibig sabihin yan. Okay? Sir, what is a purchase commitment? A purchase commitment is an agreement between the buyer and seller to purchase goods in the future at an agreed fixed price. Okay? Ito yung definition of purchase commitment. Let's analyze. It's an agreement between the buyer and seller. Since pinag-uusapan natin is inventory, obviously, point of view tayo ni buyer. To purchase goods, bibili tayo ng goods in the future. So, future transaction yan. Okay? Pero, ngayon pa lang, pag-aagreehan na natin kung how much yung price. If i-fix na natin, ngayon pa lang. Okay? So, ganito yung class. Buyer and then seller. Okay? Mag-agree kami na bibili ako kay seller in the future, pero ngayon pa lang, ise-set na namin kung how much yung price. Ang tawag natin dyan is purchase commitment. Sir, bakit nag-e-enter ng purchase commitment? Usually, class, ang nag-e-enter ng purchase commitment to minimize risk of price increases. Okay? Yun yung reason talaga niyan. To minimize risk of price increases. So, para mas mag-get nyo yan, mas ma-visualize nyo, let's have an illustration. For example, today is December 1. And then, 2 months from now, January 31, kailangan natin bumili ng 10,000 units of marker. Okay. Ulit, December 1 yan. 2 months from now, kailangan natin bumili ng 10,000 units of marker. Sa 2 months na yan, ang daming pwede mangyari. Pwedeng tumaas yung price ng marker. Okay? Ngayon, para ma-minimize ko yung price increases, pwede ako mag-enter into a purchase commitment. Kakausapin ko si supplier. O sige, magko-commit ako ng 10,000 units, pero iset na natin yung price. For example, 10 pesos per unit. Ayan, ang tawag natin dyan is purchase commitment. Kahit ano mangyari, sa 2 months na yan, kahit tumaas yung prices, ang babayad ko pa rin kay supplier is 10 pesos per unit. Okay? Now, usually class ang gumagawa niyan, gumagamit ng purchase commitments, yung mga oil companies, such as Petron and Shell. Yung mga oil companies na yung class, kasi everyday, yung global prices ng mga oil and fuel, nagpa-fluctuate yan. Very volatile. Okay? So, para ma-reduce nila yung risk ng price increases, nag-e-enter ng purchase commitments yung mga yan. Alright? Fini-fix na agad nila yung price. Now, for purchase commitments, every December 31, required tayong mag-mark to market. Mark to market. Ano ibig sabihin ng mark to market? I-compare natin yung price na napag-agreehan natin, in this case 10 pesos, dun sa market price or kung magkano talaga yung price ngayon per unit. Okay? Yung market price, dalawa lang naman pwede mangyari dyan, class. Pwedeng tumaas, let's say 12 pesos, or pwedeng bumaba. For example, 8 pesos. So, tingnan natin. Lock in na tayo. Naka-lock in na tayo. Fixed price at 10 pesos. Kahit anong mangyari, ibabayad natin kay supplier. Noong December 31, yung market price naging 12 pesos. Actually, panalo tayo dyan. Kasi kahit 12 pesos yan, ang ibabayad natin, mas mura, 10 pesos. Alright? Pero what if bumaba? Yung market price, 8 pesos lang. Actually, talo tayo dyan. Meron tayong loss. Bakit, sir? Kasi kahit 8 pesos yan, mas mahal yung ibabayad natin. 10 pesos kasi naka-lock in na tayo dyan. Committed na tayo at 10 pesos. Gets? Okay. So, ganyan nag-work yung purchase commitment. Now, tingnan natin yung accounting side. Let's go to illustrative example number 7. Illustrative example number 7. Okay. So, tingnan natin. So, requirement here is prepare journal entry under each of the following assumptions or scenarios. Meron tayong 3 scenarios. Okay. Tingnan natin yung entries. Let's read the given. On December 1, 2025, Pinnacle Company entered into a purchase commitment for 10,000 gallons at 200 pesos per gallon of raw material to be used in the manufacturing process. So, anong nangyari dito, class? Si Pinnacle Company, kailangan niya ng 10,000 gallons of raw materials. Now, para ma-reduce na yung risk na tumaas pa yung prices in the future, nag-enter siya ng purchase commitment. How much? 200 pesos per gallon yung fixed price yan. Tama? 200 pesos per gallon. Okay. So, tingnan natin, class. Ano yung journal entries for each scenario? Scenario number 1, the market price on December 31 is 210. So, ganito nangyari. Kung drawing natin yung timeline, December 1, December 31. Okay? And pag titignan mo yung ibang scenarios, January 31, dun ka talaga bibili ng 10,000 gallons. So, meron tayong 3 dates. December 1, December 31, January 31. Tandaan mo, class, sa date na nag-enter tayo ng purchase commitment, laging walang journal entry yan. Tandaan mo yan, ha? Laging walang journal entry. Disclosure lang. Okay? Now, to recall, 200 pesos yung commitment natin. Yun yung lock-in price or yung fixed price natin. On December 31, according to scenario 1, naging 210. Uy, panalo tayo dyan. Diba? Kasi mas mura yung babayad natin kaysa dun sa market price. Pero in accounting, hindi tayo allowed na mag-recognize ng gain initially. Okay? Para maging conservative tayo. Kasi gain yan panalo yan So, market price is 210 pero nakalock-in tayo sa mas murang price. Panalo dapat. Pero to be conservative, hindi tayo allowed na mag-recognize ng gain. No journal entry. Okay? So, basically, for scenario 1, walang journal entry. Let's go to scenario number 2. The market price on December 31 is 170. On January 31, when the 10,000 gallons is received, the market price is 150. So, ganito nangyari dyan. Drawing ulit natin. December 1, nakalaking tayo 200. December 31, yung market price daw is 170. Okay? And then, January 31, yung nagkaroon ng shipment, doon tayo nagbayad, market price daw is 150. Okay? So, ganyan nangyari. Again, walang journal entry. Laging walang journal entry dyan. Ngayon, from 200, bumaba yung market price, naging 170. Actually, talo tayo dyan. Loss yan. Kasi, ang babayad pa rin natin sa January 31 is still 200 per gallon. Lugi tayo dyan. So, paano natin kukumputin yung loss? So, 200 minus 170 is 30. 30 times 10,000 gallons, 300,000. So, entry natin, class, on December 31, debit loss on purchase commitment, credit estimated liability on purchase commitment, 300,000. Okay? So, paano ko ulit na-compute yan? 200, yung naka-lock-in na price natin, minus 170, yung current market price, that's 30. Lugi tayo ng 30 per gallon. Times 10,000, debit loss, credit estimated liability. Okay? Now, on January 31, sabi yung class, when the 10,000 gallon shipment is received, the market price is 150. Bumaba pa lalo. 170, naging 150. Ganito magiging entry ko dyan. Kasi settlement na, magbabayad na tayo. Debit purchases. Okay. Credit cash. Doon muna tayo sa cash kasi yun yung mas madali. Yung cash natin is always based on 200. Naka-lock in tayo dyan sa 200. 200 times 10,000, that's 2 million. Okay? 2 million yung credit cash natin. Ngayon, yung purchases natin, class, is based on 150. Okay? 150 times 10,000, that's 1.5 million. Alright? So, like dito, 1.5 million. Again, this is based on 10,000 times 150. Alright? Yung cash natin, 10,000 times 200. Now, since nagbayad na tayo, tanggalin mo na yung estimated liability. Debit estimated liability on purchase commitment, 300,000. Hindi balance yung entry natin. Okay, meron kang 1.8 million sa debit, meron kang credit na 2 million. Meron tayong balancing figure na loss on purchase commitment, 200,000. Ayun, ito yung complete journal entry natin. Balancing figure mo is gain or loss. Actually, class, yung 200,000 na yan, mako-compute mo rin yan as 170 naging 150, bumaba ng 20 pesos per gallon. That's additional loss. 20 times 10,000, 200,000. Doon nakuha yan. Alright? Sige. So that's your entry on January 31. Let's go to scenario number 3. Again, sa December 1, wala tayong journal entry dyan. So, gawin natin yung timeline. Okay. So, December 1, December 31, January 31. Walang entry on December 1. Let's go to January 1. Walang entry. December 31, sabi dyan class, the market price is 170. Okay. So, 200, naging 170. And then on January 31, the market price is 210. Okay. Ganyan nangyari. Doon muna tayo sa December 31. From 200, naging 170. Actually, parang scenario 2 lang yan. 300,000 yung loss natin. Debit loss on purchase commitment. Credit estimated liability on purchase commitment, 300,000. Okay, walang problema. Now, dito may trick yan. December 31. Kung mapapansin mo class, tumaas. 170 naging 210. Kanina, 170 naging 150. Ito tumaas. Okay, sir, paano entry natin dyan? January 31. Tingnan mo to class. Sa debit purchases, credit cash. Yung cash natin, always 2 million yan. Based on 200. Yung napag-agrihan natin. Walang problema, 2 million. Okay. Debit natin yung estimated liability. Kasi settled din, bayad na tayo. 300,000. Okay, walang problema. Ngayon, dito class may issue yan, yung debit purchases. Kung maalala mo yung scenario 2 natin, yung purchases natin, based dun sa market price ng 150. Okay? Pero this time, hindi yan based sa 210. Bakit, sir? Kasi class, ipa-follow pa rin natin dito is LCNRV, lower of cost or net realizable value. Actually, yung cost dito is kung how much yung binayad natin. 200. Tama? NRV is 210. Ano mas mababa? 200 or 210? Obviously, 200. 10,000 times 200, this is actually 2 million. Ayun. Yun yung entry. Ngayon, hindi balance yan. Purchases, estimated liability cash, kulang ng 300,000. Meron tayong gain on purchase commitment. 300,000. Ito yung journal entry natin. Debit purchases, 2 million. Debit estimated liability, 300. Credit cash, 2 million. Credit gain, 300,000. Okay? Sir, bakit kanina hindi mo in-apply yung LCNRV? Actually, in-apply natin yan. Ito class, yung sa scenario number 2, yung cost mo dyan is 200. Kung magkano binayad mo. Tama? NRV mo is the selling price is 150. Cost 200 versus 150, lower is 150. 10,000 times 150, purchases 1.5 million. Kaya sabi ko kanina, related yung purchase commitment sa inventory measurement, which is LC and RV. Okay, so take note of the journal entries. Sige. Practice pa tayo class. Let's go to main problem number 5. So proceed to main problem number 5. So tingnan natin. Main problem number 5. On January 1, 2021, Leonardo Corp. Nakita mo yan? So, yan. Main problem number 5. Signed a 3-year non-cancelable purchase contract or purchase commitment. Okay? Which allows it to purchase up to 500,000 units of a computer part annually from X. Okay. So, yun yung commitment niya. So, pwede siyang bumili up to 500,000 at 0.1 or 0.10 per unit and guarantees a minimum annual purchase of 100,000. So may guarantee siya. Okay? So yung guarantee is 100,000 per unit, 100,000 units per annum or annual. Okay? During 2021, the part unexpectedly became obsolete. The company had 250,000 units of its inventory on December 31 and believes these parts can be sold as scrap for 0.02 per unit. What amount of probable loss from the purchase commitment should it report? Ganito nangyari dyan, class. So, December or January 1, 2021, okay? And then, 3 years, tama ba? Kailangan mo bumili ng 100,000 units for 3 years. Kasi nakalagay sa first sentence, Leonardo Corp signed a 3-year non-cancelable purchase contract. So every year, year 1, year 2, year 3, kailangan bumili ka ng 100,000 per annum. Okay? So 2021, 2022, 2023. Ngayon, sabi diyang class, noong December 31, 2021, naging obsolete. Naging obsolete na after 1 year, naging obsolete. Kaya lang, meron tayong commitment. Nakalipas na yung 1 year, tama? So, 3 years yan, kailangan mo pa rin bumili ng 100,000 sa 2022 and 100,000 in 2023 kasi commitment natin yan. So, how much yung loss natin? Well, ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. How much yung babayaran natin? Yung purchase price is 200. So, ibig sabihin, 200,000 times how much ba yung part? Phoenix natin siya at 0.10, tama? 0.10. So, 200,000 times 0.10, ito yung babayad natin kay supplier, 20,000. Pero mabibenta naman natin siya. How much na natin siya mabibenta? Sabi dyan sa second to the last sentence, 0.02 per unit. Okay? So, yun yung scrap value niya or yung salvage value. Okay? Salvage value is 200,000 times 0.02. Right? So, 200,000 times 20,000. Okay, tama pala. 200,000 times 0.02, you get 4,000. So, ibig sabihin, ang loss natin dito, class, is 16,000. Letter C. Ulitin ko. Yung nangyari. Meron tayong purchase commitment for 3 years. Okay? 100,000 per year yung commitment natin. Ngayon, nakalipas na yung 1 year. Ibig sabihin, nakabili na tayo ng unang 100,000. Wala nang problema dyan. Kaya lang, naging obsolete. Pero kailangan pa natin bumili ng dalawang 100,000 at 10 pesos per unit. So, kahit nag-obsolete na siya, may commitment tayo, bibili pa rin tayo. Okay? 200,000 times 0.1, ito yung babayad natin kay supplier. Pero yung 200,000 units na yan, may bibenta mo naman siya, yung salvage value niya is 0.02. So, ang net effect, binayad mo is 20,000, marireceive mo is 4,000, loss natin 16,000. Letter C. Okay? And last, main problem, number 6. Papakita ko lang sa iyo, class, yung ano naman yung point of view ni seller. Kasi buyer yung pinag-usapan natin, tama? Sa illustrative example and sa main problem, buyer point of view yan. So, paano naman, sir, yung seller's point of view? Ganito yung class. Basahin natin. Let's go to number 6. On January 1, 2021, Christine Inc. contracted with X to provide custom-built desks for the city. The contract paid the company, the sole supplier, and required to supply no less than 4,000 desks and no more than 5,500. So, minimum 4,000, maximum 5,500. For 2 years. Okay? Yun yung agreement niya. So, meron kang, kumbaga, sa point of view ni buyer, ang tawag is purchase commitment. Sa point of view ni seller, ang tawag naman sales commitment. Okay? Depende sa point of view. Sales commitment. Ang commitment is, ang price, 110. Nakita niyo yung 110? Yan yung fixed price. Alright? During 2021, the company produced 5,000 desks for X. On December 30, 500 of these were segregated from the regular inventory and were accepted and awaiting pickup. X paid 450,000. What amount should the company recognize as contract revenue or how much daw yung sales? Again, point of view ni seller naman tayo sa number 6. Ganito lang nga, class. Sa point of view ni seller, tandaan mo, ang sales mo or yung revenue, okay, is based on kung how much yun na-produce mo. Based on production. Kasi kahit anong mangyari, class, babayaran ka ni buyer for 110 per unit. Okay? Sa point of view ni seller, ano basis ng sales mo or revenue? Based dyan kung ilang units na yung na-produce mo. In this case, tingin ka dun sa middle part of the problem. During 2021, the company produced 5,000 desks. Yun na yung na-produce. Sigurado naman na babayaran ka ni buyer kasi nga meron kayong commitment, sales commitment. Okay? So, ang sagot dito, class, is simply 5,000 desks times 110, which is the selling price per unit. Okay? 5,000 times 110, answer mo dito, 550,000. Okay? So, entry mo dyan, debit AR credit sales or debit cash credit sales, 550,000. So, ulitin ko lang. Letter C yung sagot natin dyan. Letter C. Pag point of view ni seller, since may commitment, sigurado babayaran ka ni buyer. Ang basis ng revenue mo or ang sales mo is kung ilang units yung na-produce mo. In this case, sabi sa problem, na-produce daw is 5,000. Okay? Yun yung magiging basis ng sales mo. 5,000 times yung commitment na 110 per unit. Sagot natin dyan, class, 550,000. Debit AR credit sales, 550,000. Okay. Now, let's answer the remaining theory questions. Okay, so hindi pa tayo tapos sa theory actually, no? So punta ka dun sa theory number 10. Theory number 10. So lagyan natin dito, theory. Okay, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ayan. Number 10, the measurement rule for inventories mandated by IAS2 is, alam natin yan, class, subsequent measurement, LC. NRV, letter B, lower of cost and net realizable value. Number 11, NRV is, punta ka dun sa letter C, estimated selling price in the ordinary course of business. Okay, less the estimated cost of completion, yung cost to sell, ang ibang tawag din dyan, cost of completion. Alright? And the estimated cost necessary to make the sale. Letter C for number 11. Number 12, NRV may fall below cost for a number of reasons, including product obsolescence, yes. Physical deterioration, pag nagka-damage. Increase in the expected replacement cost, hindi yan, okay. Increase in estimated cost of completion, yes. Yung letter A, product obsolescence, for example, nagbebenta ako ng CalQ, 500 pesos. Next year, nag-release ng bagong brand, ng bagong model. O, bababa na yung price nito. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng product obsolescence. Physical deterioration, nagkaroon ng damage, mas mababa ko na siyang mabibenta. Replacement cost, ibig sabihin ng replacement cost kung magkano yung babayad natin para ma-replace to. Okay? Hindi yan, hindi maka-affect ng NRV yan. Pero yung increased estimated cost of completion yun din yung cost to sell. Tama ba, class? Kapag tumaas yung cost to sell, bababa yung NRV mo kasi negative yan eh. Tama? So, kaya kasama yan. 1, 2, and 4, sagot natin dito, class, is letter A. Number 13, inventories require that when inventories are written down to NRV, they are written down, preferably item per item. Pag hindi kaya, by group. So, answer mo dito, letter boy, item by item. 14, the amount of any write-down of inventory to NRV shall be, kung maalala nyo, class, yung direct method and allowance method, pareho sila. Cost of goods sold yung effect niya. Letter C, recognized as component of cost of sales in the period of write-down or loss occurs, especially yung allowance method. Debit loss on write-down, okay? Credit allowance on write-down, yung loss na yun, i-charge mo sa cost of sales or cost of goods sold. Letter C for number 14. Okay, let's jump to number 24. Theory 24 and 25. I think ito na yung last two theories natin. No? Number 24, which of the following is not true about accounting for inventory? Alin hindi true? Punta ka na sa letter D, dog. Inventories are always valued at NRV. Mali yun. Lower of cost or NRV. Kung anong mas mababa sa cost and NRV, hindi laging NRV. Okay? Again, sa accounting, dapat conservative tayo. Letter D for number 24. So, sabi kasi dyan, inventories are always valued at NRV. Again, LC NRV, no? Kulang siya. Number 25, why are inventories measured at LC NRV? Punta ka dun sa dog. To report a loss when there is a decrease in the future utility below the cost. Especially, for example, nagkaroon ng obsolescence or nagkaroon ng damage. Okay? Ang tawag natin doon, ayan, decrease in the future utility below the cost. Yun yung reason why we use LC and RV. Letter D. Okay, so we're done with inventory measurement. Okay?